Alright guys, we're moving right along here. I want to show you the inside of the carburetor now that, if you can see it or not. I've got a lot of that old, where the gas had set in there, evaporated and left behind a lot of corrosion and nastiness. That's the way gas is these days. You know, it doesn't, I mean, I think it can go bad, they say, in 60 days. Whatever. This set for 5 years. So anyway, I've got I took the discharge jet out, the main jet out. The well vent's not going to come out. It's not going to come out. I may be able to if I can't blow through it, you can usually see where it ends up. Like if I took this and I shot it through the fuel jet, it would come out through here and you would see it shoot out if it wasn't plugged up. So you can tell if you've got something plugged or not. I'm just going to try to clean it up real quick because I totally rebuilt this carburetor before I had parked it for 5 years. That season I'd completely rebuilt it. So I know that the parts like the needle valve and everything like that, it's cool. I just want to clean it up. So, you know, I mean, I could probably put this back in the carburetor cleaner, soak it, and try to maybe, you know, if I set my screwdriver on here, I can try to wake it up a bit, you know, and get it out of there. But it's not that important to me right now to get it out. So I'm going to leave it and blow through it. If everything's cool, you know, I'll just move right along. I'm going to finish cleaning the bowl out. Got a lot, well, I've got it on my sleeve now, a lot of that nastiness that was in there. So anyway, I'm gonna keep cleaning it up, and we'll get it put back together here shortly. All right, guys, you can see how nasty some of these parts have gotten to be after they sit for so long. These are the screws that hold the air horn to the carburetor body. It's pretty nasty, rusted and everything. I took this on my bench grinder. I got a wired wheel in it, and I'm gonna clean them all up. Like on this discharge jet, I'm not going to take the wire wheel in because it's, you know, really soft brass. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do anything with the float either. But on these, especially on the steel parts, and of course on the needle ends, I'm just going to take some really fine sandpaper, you know, hold it around it and just give it a couple of turns, clean the rust off of it, and I think we're going to be able to clean all this stuff up and it'll work just fine. So anyway, I'm gonna get back to my cleaning. I thought I'd just kind of show you, you know, how nasty these things can get when I guess you abuse and neglect them, you know, which is what I did. So now I'm paying the price. Anyway, let's fix it up. Okay, guys, I've got everything pretty much cleaned up. I'm gonna just blow through all my passages with compressed air to make sure there's no restriction. Okay, everything's good on the carburetor body. I'm going to go ahead and blow through everything on the air horn here. Alright, pretty clean. Alright, what I'm going to start doing now is putting things back together. I'm going to start with the body, and then we'll move along. I want to take making sure I've got my gasket on my main jet here. This is kind of cool the way this adjusts. It's got, when you do adjust it, see, this is already on, you know, it's already been tightened down. Like let me get it to that point and then I'll show you. It's got a little jam nut here. When you go to, if you want to adjust this, just loosen the jam nut. It's got a packing in there to keep, you know, fuel from leaking. Just use the T-handle on that. Just one of those old simple things, you know. It's pretty cool though. I did make sure my idle jet was clear. Everything's clear from my needle valve. You got to put this gasket on first before you put your float on. It's a little bit tricky to get it down here without tearing it, but it can be done. Okay, everything's lining up good. Just want to make sure you're not covering, didn't get it, you know, backwards to cover any holes that shouldn't be covered. Okay, gotta have my needle valve. Check it over real quick. Yeah, it looks good. Looks real good. Alright. And these, like most all floats, they normally set level, you know, as far as the adjustment goes. But you do want to kind of check your instructions to make sure. But 99% of the time, I found them to set. I'm going to take this in the vise here so I can get me something to tap against. There we go. Didn't even have to tap it really. I'll just give it a little bit. Yeah. Now that we've got all that done, we've got everything cleaned up, we'll just go ahead. I think I mentioned to you before a problem I had with this part of the air horn. It goes down into the venturi. It was all gummed up, really hard to get apart, but it cleaned up okay. Alright, yeah, this is one of the simplest carburetors that I've ever had the pleasure of working on. They're really things, this kind of, you know, Gravely to me is a lot like a Volkswagen in ways. Just the engineering, it wasn't so technical, you know, and they're pretty dependable, but they're around a lot of dirt, you know, working in gardens and so on and so forth. They took some maintenance. They really take a beating as far as the weather goes, but you know, the design's simple, they're easy to work on. Really I guess if you're a hobbyist like myself, with mechanics, you know, it's really a pleasure to work on those kinds of things. The following segments of this series is going to be, I'm going to have to put my magneto on. Got to do that, and that is it's really weird, you know, to work on these, how they time. You know, it'll take you from top dead center, and it'll tell you, I think it's you go top dead center, and then you have to back the piston down in the cylinder counterclockwise like 3/8 of an inch. That's where it's supposed to fire for optimum horsepower. So we've got to take a look at that as well, getting it timed, because the magneto that was on there went bad. I had to get another magneto. They're both Fairbanks Morse. They also made a Wicco on the earlier Gravely's, but we're using the Fairbanks Morse. But I need to make sure it's all timed and everything, so we're going to be doing that. Alright guys, the gasket's already on the bottom of here. In case you're wondering why I didn't put a gasket on it, that's why. Okay, get my cables out of the way here. Not cables, but these rods are part of the governor. So let me get this started here, and I'll be that much further along. Went on them. Go ahead and tighten that carburetor down before too many things in my way here. The reason I'm working on this is because spring's coming and I need to get my garden out. So this is a necessary piece of equipment for my garden.